What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, Serendipity. I am going to be reacting to 8 American things Britain doesn't even have a word for. But before we get into the video, created an Instagram for this channel. For anybody who wants to go follow it. It's also going to be in the description. So let's get into this video.
Well, I'm going to show off my acute knowledge of weather here by pointing out that it is a synoptic scale extratropical cyclone in the western North Atlantic Ocean. I read that on Wikipedia. Hello, this video is sponsored by Wondrium. I'm Lawrence Brown and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond. And one of those memos pertains to things. Specifically, things for which the other country doesn't have a word. Indeed, those of you paying attention will know that I've done 2 videos on 8 American things that Britain doesn't have a word for. And so I thought I'd turn this into the greatest trilogy since any one of the 3 Fast and the Furious trilogies. Whether we're talking about food, sports, animals, or weather, there are just inevitably certain things that crop up in one country that never saw the light of day in the other. And so without further ado, here are 8 American things for which the British don't even have a word. Part 3. Bleachers, as I came to discover, are not a group of people that whiten your teeth, though if you are interested in British and American dental care, see my previous video. No, in fact, bleachers are sort of like tiered rows of benches that you'll find on college sports grounds. In Britain, maybe because we don't take college sports quite so seriously, we'd probably just bring a deck chair or sit in the mud. Meanwhile, in the United States, particularly nowadays, there's one very unlikely sport that might get the bleacher treatment. Cornhole. Now, I dare say there are some Americans that don't have a word for this, which is sort of ironic because cornhole does go by several names in the United States. These include bags, sack toss, or beanbag toss. These would all be rude in Britain. But what is cornhole? Really popular in the Midwest. Cornhole is a game in which people throw bags of corn kernels at a raised board and try to get it in a hole. And to me, it's actually a really fun game if you win. And it's becoming an increasingly popular game. Recently, while I was flicking the channels, I came across a televised game from the American Cornhole League being shown on ESPN at 1 in the morning. Nonetheless, still an unexpected combination, just like this.
Yeah, ESPN, like, if they don't have a football game to show or a basketball game, like I've seen high school games get broadcasted on ESPN. So if it's like, if there's no other like NFL or college or nothing going on, you will see like high schoolers on like broadcasting.
Ah, snack food. What would I do without you except fit in my trousers? Chex Mix is such a popular snack food here in the United States. And while in Britain we might easily be able to procure individual members of its contents, that being Chex cereals, chips, hard breadsticks, pretzels, nuts, or bagel bites, we don't really sell anything that contains them in one neatly packaged jar. Here in the United States, they come in jars, bags, you can probably even pluck them from the earth. But take it from me, don't ever eat Chex Mix when you've just had your wisdom teeth removed.
Oh no, that's like the #1 thing not to do.
Yes, javelina, and it's very important that you do pronounce it the Spanish way, lest you confuse it for that well-known Olympic sport in which a ballerina throws a javelin. But a javelina is one I've spoken about before on this channel, and one that I still believe looks like a badly ironed bear. And it turns out that these things are medium-sized, pig-like, hoofed mammals that can be found in America's southwest. And if you find yourself being chased by one, they're good swimmers, so don't jump in the water unless you have one of these.
I honestly never heard of that.
Yeah, airboats. I think I first became aware of them through the time-honoured medium of Police Academy 5. And that makes sense because the plot of Police Academy 5, if it can be said to have one, unfolds in the state of Florida. You see, airboats, which are kind of those smallish vehicles that have a propeller not in the water, but above it, are commonly found in swamp areas of the American South. See Louisiana and the Everglades. And because we don't really have anything like this in the United Kingdom, I've been holding on to that dream that I will one day use one of these to evade alligators. And if this takes place in the state of Louisiana, where I'm led to believe you can eat them, I might in fact just stick to this.
Alligators really good.
While Gumbo might sound like your granddad's favourite card game or...
Wait. Gumbo is literally my favorite dish. It can come in any type of way. It can be chicken and sausages. It can be seafood gumbo. It don't matter. Gumbo is my all-time favorite dish. And also what he's saying, yes, alligator's also good.
Character from a World War II movie. It is in fact the official state cuisine of Louisiana. Considered a soup, it consists of stock, meat or shellfish, a thickener, and the so-called Creole holy trinity of celery, bell peppers, and onions.
Yeah,
in Britain, we haven't cooked up a storm like that since my attempt at stew. Oh, and while we're on the subject of storms, let's move on to our last two entries.
Love gumbo.
Many of you, perhaps even my American audience, might be looking at the word derecho and thinking, what the heck is that, Lawrence?
Yeah,
and I wouldn't blame you because until last year I didn't know myself until I was caught up in one. A derecho is basically a complex of straight line windstorms that produce hugely damaging winds, sometimes things like tornadoes. And to truly be classified as a derecho, the wind needs to exceed 60 miles per hour. And the biggest mistake I made in viewing with my own eyes the August 2020 Midwest derecho is I didn't film it for B-roll. So instead, here's a public domain photo of an affected cornfield in Iowa. What I can tell you is that when it comes to Lake Michigan, these derechos really undo the good work of the moon. Oh yeah, and speaking of the moon. In past videos, I introduced you to the Great Courses Plus. Well, the team behind those great courses are hard at work creating even better, broader, bigger, and more brilliant educational experiences, giving you more reasons to love and pursue learning. Enter Wondrium, where you can find all of the tried and true Great Courses Plus content and more. For instance, have you ever wondered how English took on a life of its own in America? I'm thrilled to recommend Professor Natalie Schilling's English in America, a linguistic history. This course even taught me a lot. Like, did you know that Noah Webster, the father of American English, wanted to replace the U in soup with a second O? Mind-blowing. Well, Wondrium is where you find the answer to everything you've ever wondered about and some things you never imagined you'd wonder about. Their carefully curated collection of short and long-form videos, tutorials, how-tos, travelogues, documentaries, and more is academically comprehensive, thoroughly researched, relentlessly entertaining, and presented by engaging experts. In a nutshell, Wondrium is the place for minds that wonder. And as it happens, they're giving viewers the fantastic offer of a free trial. Show your support for Lost in the Pond by subscribing to Wondrium today. Visit wondrium.com/lostinthepond right now to begin your free trial. The link is in my description below. Well, I could hardly finish this video by letting the Midwest have all of the extreme weather glory. Every great now and again here in the United States, you'll turn on the news and you'll hear that word that you haven't heard since the last time you heard it. And that word, almost always, is nor'easter, and every other word in the English language. But that word has cheated its way onto this list because it made it into American English via the Brits, who subsequently forgot about its existence. Well, I'm going to show off my acute knowledge of weather here by pointing out that it is a synoptic scale extratropical cyclone in the western North Atlantic Ocean. I read that on Wikipedia. But the serious, brutal truth of the matter is they can be quite deadly and can cause untold damage to power and people's homes. Thankfully, we don't have anything like that in the United Kingdom, although you will sometimes hear weathermen refer to those northeasterly winds that devastate your patio furniture. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below some other things for which the other country doesn't have a word. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. An egregiously large shout out to my patrons who make these videos possible. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so today.
July. No, he wasn't talking about Ida. It was probably another silver before. Yeah, never mind. I thought he might be talking about one of the hurricanes that hit us pretty bad last year, but it was at the end of August, the beginning of September, was Hurricane Ida. That was a crazy hurricane. Like it hasn't been that bad for us since like Katrina. Like we was out of lights for like 2.5 weeks. It was horrible. And then being out of lights and then having to go to work at the same time it's horrible. Anyway, tell me how you liked the video, what you thought was like interesting or weird. But yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment on what you thought was weird. But yeah, that's all I got for you. That's all I got for you, and I'll see you in the next one.